You've been carrying something beautiful inside you all this time. Something that the world mistook for shyness or distance or something that needed to be fixed, but it was never broken. It was always a gift. This quiet nature of yours, this ability to exist in stillness while the world rushes around you, demanding constant noise and performance. And somewhere along your journey, you learned that the most meaningful moments of your life happened not in the loud declarations or the endless conversations, but in the gentle silences, in the moments when you sat with yourself and felt the fullness of simply being alive, when you watched the world without needing to comment on it, when you connected with another soul without needing to fill the space with words. And this gift you carry, this capacity for comfortable silence, it's rare in a world that has forgotten how to be still, that treats every pause as awkward and every moment of quiet is something to be fixed with meaningless chatter. But you know better. You've always known better, even when people made you feel like something was wrong with you, for preferring depth over breadth, quality over quantity, meaningful silence over empty conversation. You knew in your heart that there was nothing wrong with you, that you were simply wired differently, tuned to a frequency that values presence over performance, being overdoing, connection over communication. And this knowing has been your compass through a world that constantly tried to convince you to be louder, more available, more like everyone else, but you resisted. Not out of stubbornness, but out of integrity. Out of a deep understanding that betraying your quiet nature would be betraying the very essence of who you are. And now you're here, standing in the truth of your silence. And it feels like coming home, like finally giving yourself permission to be exactly who you've always been without apology or explanation. And the relief of this acceptance is profound. It's like setting down a weight you didn't realize you were carrying, the weight of pretending to be someone you're not, the weight of forcing yourself into conversations that drain you, the weight of feeling guilty for needing time alone to recharge and reflect. And as you set down this weight, you'll discover something wonderful. You discover that your silence has been nurturing something precious all along, a deep well of wisdom and peace and authentic connection that could never have existed if you'd spent all your energy performing for people who would never truly see you anyway. And this discovery changes everything, because it means that all those moments you thought you were missing out, all those times you felt left behind because you weren't as social or talkative or constantly engaged as everyone else, you weren't missing anything at all. You were actually cultivating something far more valuable. You were building a relationship with yourself, learning your own rhythms, understanding your own needs, becoming fluent in the language of your soul. There was a turning point, wasn't there? A moment when you stopped fighting your need for quiet and started embracing it, when silence shifted from something you felt guilty about to something you sought out intentionally, when you realized that the peace you felt in those quiet moments was not isolation, but integration, not loneliness, but coming home to yourself. And this shift happened gradually. So gradually, you might not have even noticed it at first. Maybe it started when you declined an invitation, and instead of feeling bad about it, you felt relieved. Or when you spent a weekend alone and realized you felt more energized on Monday than you ever did after a weekend of forest socializing. or when you had a conversation that consisted mostly of comfortable silences and walked away feeling more connected than you had in months of constant texting and talking. And slowly, you began to understand that your need for silence wasn't a deficiency, but a requirement. Not something to overcome, but something to honor. Because in the silence you could hear yourself. Think you could feel what you actually felt instead of what you thought you should feel. You could process the overwhelming input of daily life and make a sense of your own experience. And this processing is essential. It's not optional. It's how you maintain your sanity and your authenticity in a world that's constantly bombarding you with noise and expectation and demands on your energy. And when you finally gave yourself permission to retreat into silence without guilt, when you finally stopped apologizing for needing time alone, something beautiful happened. You started to feel more alive, more present, more genuinely engaged with life. Because you are no longer depleting yourself trying to be someone you're not. You were finally operating from a place of fullness rather than emptiness, giving from overflow rather than deficit. And the people in your life noticed, the ones who truly cared about you saw that you were happier, more peaceful, more authentically yourself. And they celebrated this transformation, even if they didn't fully understand it. And the ones who made you feel guilty for your need for space, the ones who interpreted your silence as rejection or your need for solitude, selfishness, those people gradually faded from your life, not because you pushed them away, but because there was no longer space for relationships that required you to betray yourself. And this natural filtering was a blessing. Painful sometimes, but ultimately liberating, because it made room for the kind of connections that honor who you actually are, rather than who people want you to be. What you've discovered in your silence is the lost art of authentic presence, the ability to be fully where you are, without the constant distraction of needing to document or explain or perform your experience. And this presence is a gift, not just to yourself, but to everyone around you. Because when you're truly present, when you're not scattered across a dozen different thoughts and conversations and obligations, you can actually see people, really see them. You can notice the things that others miss, the subtle shifts in energy, the unspoken emotions, the moments when someone needs connection but doesn't know how to ask for it. And you can offer this connection not through a flood of words, but through your attention, through the quality of your listening, through your willingness to sit with someone in their difficulty without trying to fix it or explain it away. And people feel this. They might not be able to articulate what makes you different, but they sense it. They sense that when they're with you, they don't have to perform. They can exhale. They can be quiet. If they need to be quiet, they can share what's really going on, rather than the edited version they present to the rest of the world. And this is the beauty of what you offer. This is the gift that your silence has cultivated, a capacity for real intimacy, for genuine connection, for the kind of relationship where people can be fully themselves without fear of judgment or the exhorting expectation of constant entertainment. And understanding this changes everything about how you see yourself, because you're not the problem. You've never been the problem. You're actually offering something the world desperately needs. And if you're still here with me, still feeling these words resonate in that quiet place inside, you then what comes next is going to show you just how powerful your presence really is. Your presence is healing in ways that words could never be. It creates space for others to be real, to drop their masks, to stop performing. And in a world where everyone is constantly performing, where social media has turned life into a highlight reel and conversation into a competition for attention, your willingness to simply be, to exist, without agenda or performance is revolutionary. It's a reminder that there's another way to move through the world, a gentler way, a more honest way that honors the complexity of human experience rather than trying to simplify it into status updates. And when people encounter your authentic presence, they remember what it feels like to be human. They remember that it's okay to not have all the answers, that it's okay to sit with uncertainty, that it's okay to feel deeply without having to immediately translate those feelings into words. And this remembering is a gift. It's medicine for souls that have been starved of genuine connection, that have been trained to value quantity over quality, speed over depth, constant availability over intentional presence. And you offer them an alternative simply by being who you are, simply by refusing to participate in the exhausting game of constant performance, simply by trusting that silence can hold more truth than speech, that presence matters more than productivity, that being matters more than doing. And this trust is radical. It goes against everything our culture tells us about how to be successful, how to be liked, how to be worthy of love and belonging. But you've discovered something that success and likability and external validation could never give you. You've discovered peace, real peace, the kind that doesn't depend on what other people think of you, the kind that exists in the quiet moments when you're alone with yourself and completely okay with who you are. And this peace is magnetic. It draws people to you, not the people who want something from you, but the people who recognize something in you, who sense that you found what they're searching for, who are tired of the noise and hungry for something real. And these people, when they find you, they stay. They don't need you to be anything other than what you are. They don't need you to explain yourself or justify your need for space or apologize for being quiet. They understand. They speak your language. They value the same things you value. And with them, you could finally relax. You can finally stop monitoring yourself. Stop wondering if you're too much or not enough. Stop trying to calibrate your responses to make everyone comfortable. You can just be. And being is enough. Being is everything. Your silence means you're listening, really listening, not just waiting for your turn to speak, but actually absorbing what's being said and what's not being said, reading between the lines, picking up on the nuances that most people miss because they're too busy formulating their next response. And this deep listening is a form of love. It's a way of honoring another person's experience without trying to fix it or relate it back to yourself or minimize it with platitudes. It's a way of saying, I see you, I'm here with you. Your experience matters. And in a world where most people are desperate to be seen and heard and understood, your listening is a radical act of generosity. It costs you nothing but attention, and it gives others everything. Dave Bunn, searching for validation, recognition, the sense that they're not alone in there, experienced, and your silence also means you're feeling, deeply feeling, allowing emotions to move through you without immediately trying to ration them or explain them away. And this willingness to feel is courage, because feelings are messy and complicated and sometimes uncomfortable. It's so much easier to stay on the surface, to keep moving, to distract yourself with constant activity and noise. But you've chosen the harder path, the path of actually experiencing your life rather than just getting through it. And this choice has given you a depth of emotional intelligence that can't be learned from books or taught in seminars. It can only be earned through the willingness to sit with yourself in the difficult moments, to not run from discomfort, to trust that feelings pass, and that on the other side of difficult emotions, there's always clarity, always growth, always a deeper understanding of yourself and others. And your silence means you're processing, taking in all the information and stimuli and interactions of daily life and making sense of them, finding patterns, drawing connections, understanding your own reactions and why you respond the way you do. And this processing time is sacred. It's how you maintain your integrity, how you stay aligned with your values, how you make decisions that actually reflect who you are rather than just reacting based on what others expect. And people who don't understand the importance of processing will try to rush you. They'll want immediate responses, instant decisions, constant availability. But you know better. You know that the best decisions come from the quiet space of reflection. That clarity emerges, not from the noise, but from the silence. That wisdom requires time and space to develop. And this wisdom you're cultivating, this deep understanding of yourself and others, it's transforming you in ways that will become clear as we go deeper. So stay with me here, because what I'm about to share will help you see your silence not as something to defend, but as something to celebrate. Your silence means you're choosing quality over quantity, depth over breadth, meaningful connection over superficial interaction. And this choice positions you differently in the world. It means you have fewer relationships, but the ones you have here, they're built on mutual understanding and respect, and the kind of intimacy that can only exist when two people are willing to be vulnerable with each other. And these relationships sustain you in ways that 100 shallow friendships never could. They nourish your soul. They remind you why connection matters. They give you a sense of belonging that's based on being truly known rather than being liked for a version of yourself that you're performing. And your silence means you're honoring your energy, recognizing that you have limits, that you can't be everything to everyone, that you need time to recharge, and that this need is not a weakness, but a fundamental aspect of how you're designed. And when you honor this need, when you protect your energy instead of giving it away to anyone who asks, you show up as your best self in the moments that matter. You have something real to offer because you're not depleted. You're not running on empty. You're operating from a place of fullness and presence and genuine care. And then it happens, slowly at first, but with increasing frequency. You start finding your